There are just some people you come across when you're a coach and you just know right off the bat, even if they're in the early stages of their business, you just know that they're going to have a massive impact on their niche that they're serving. And that's what I think about my guest here today, Hunter Donia. And Hunter is a member of my accelerator coaching program. And Hunter teaches stylists, he helps them streamline their business on like the business side. So his audience, as you're going to hear today, is the booked, busy, overwhelmed hairstylist. And he serves them in a way that very few other people do. And he does it with a unique knowledge of because he's a stylist himself. And so he shares his expertise and he's been able to build a really, really successful business in a very short amount of time, all organically. And so, so many of you are asking for, okay, what can I be doing in my business to diversify my traffic? But I don't want to do ads. Okay. I want this to be organic. And that's what we're going to be talking about here today. We're going to be talking about intentional organic strategies that can help you grow your business very, very quickly and without the need for ads. Hunter doesn't do any kind of ad spend and he has a very successful online business. And we break it all down here for you today. So let's go hang out with Hunter Donia.
Hunter, my friend, welcome to the podcast.
Hello, I'm so excited to be here.
I'm really excited. We just, as I mentioned to you before we hit record here, I have a blank document in front of me, and you were like, "Uh-oh, help!" Like, God help us where this conversation goes.
You know
But
what? I
I mean,
trust it because with my podcast and whenever I have guests on, I'm actually
yeah,
completely unorganized and I completely wing it. So you know what? I'm trusting the process with this one, Rick.
yeah, but like this is me being organized, though. That's the thing. This is intentional.
I love it.
Like, it's like people send me questions like when they interview me for their show, and
Right.
I'm like, I don't want to look at them just because, like,
Yes.
no, like, let's just have a conversation,
I am
you
the
know?
same way. I don't want to be too robotic with anything. I want to go with like what feels organic in the moment. I feel
Yeah.
like that's the best. That's the best content always.
Yeah. All right. So no pressure. Let's deliver that today for
I'm
my
down.
listeners.
I'm here.
Okay, cool. So you've done an amazing job building your business, and you're still early in the business.
Yeah.
And you've done it all organically.
Yep.
No paid ads.
That is correct. Yeah. It's actually been with my online business, it's been actually only over like, it's probably been like a year and a half at this point. And what I've been able to do in that year and a half has just been, I'm so grateful for it. I've also worked my ass off for it, but it has been
Yep.
really, really cool for sure. Thanks. Thank you.
So tell people what it is that you do.
Okay. So I teach hairstylists how to streamline all of their processes behind the chair. So I help them with their operations. And so I help them like implement their booking processes in a more streamlined way in which they don't have to be on their phone texting their clients all the time. I help them automate things. I teach a lot of technology, and that's my main gig in my niche is helping them systematize and streamline.
And you are a stylist. Like, sounds weird to say in person. You actually
IRL.
have you have you have clients,
Mhm.
but at what point did you have like this grander vision of like, you know what, I can be doing this online? Sort of what happened there?
Great question. So I have been doing hair for I've been doing it for 9 years at this point. And when I decided, so I had been in like, I've been an educator for a while. I've been like an educator
Mm,
within my industry, teaching other salons and stylists how to do technique. So, like teaching them how to color and cut and all of those things. I've been teaching on behalf of a brand for a couple
okay.
years at this point. And so I always loved educating. Like I had been educating and I got into the industry when I was like 16 years old. I did
Mm,
my local vocational high school program for cosmetology. I got my first job in a salon on my 16th birthday as a general assistant. And I got my cosmetology license before graduating high school. So like I started really, really early and I became like
mm,
this educator teaching these like people who have been in the game for so long. I've been
yeah.
teaching them technique and I've been doing that since I was like 19 maybe. And the point where I felt like it was time for me to bring things online and really break off and do my own thing was when I found a lot of crazy success like within my own business, and suddenly people were starting to ask me about it. And I, like I said, I was teaching technique for a long time, but I always found that the technique and like the what we deliver behind the chair, like what we deliver as hairstylists, is nothing without the business. Like the business is
Yeah.
so important, and like the customer experience is so important. And it's rare that us as an industry and just trades in general, that we talk about the business side of things, unfortunately. And all of us are so, a lot of the time, ill equipped to be able to run and sustain a successful business and make a great living for ourselves.
Yeah.
And so I found myself just naturally being really passionate about talking about the business side of things. And I had been able to create some really great results for myself. And people started asking me about it. And so I started sharing about it. And the best way for me to do that is online. I get to reach so many people. I get to teach the tech and all of like the back end stuff in a really streamlined way, versus it's really weird for me actually to teach that stuff in person. Like it just doesn't make sense, you
Yeah.
know?
Sure.
So
Sure.
that's how I got into it.
So you basically, like so many people, created a solution for yourself, started working, other people were asking like, hey, what are you doing over here? Can you show me? And
Precisely.
then, yeah.
Precisely.
It,
And the cool thing about it was though too that like I didn't realize the real impact that I'd be making at the end of the day. And I'm sure that you can relate to this. And I'm sure that like a
yeah.
lot of other people who are like in the quote unquote knowledge expert industry, whatever it may be, like educators in one way or another, I'm sure that you can relate. Like I didn't realize how I was actually going to be changing people's lives. And
Yeah.
what I do is it means so much to me, because this industry specifically, like the hair beauty industry, has allowed me to like, it really helped me step into who I was like as a human being, and like being
Mm,
gay. And like I felt like it was the one of the rarer places when I was younger that I actually was like celebrated for who I was. And like I was really accepted for like wearing makeup and coloring my hair and like doing all of that stuff. And I just know that like if I wasn't equipped with the knowledge, tools, and mentorship to be able to stay in this industry and make a good living for myself, then I'd be
yeah.
giving up like a massive part of my life that has given me so much. And I never want
Mm,
anybody else to feel like that. And so it's such a
yeah.
privilege and honor to be able to be giving people those tools
That's
now.
really cool. Yeah. I love that. So as you started to, you're like, okay, it's so much, it makes so much more sense. And you're like, it's really hard to teach this stuff like in person. So so you've grown your business really quickly. You said about a year and a half
Mhm.
with no paid traffic, no paid ads.
Nada.
It's been all organic. So before we get into like the like what you're doing from an organic
Mhm.
perspective, has the no paid ads been intentional, or and I love it. Like, I teach paid ads,
Mhm.
but if people are like, no, I'd rather build my business without them, amazing. Like,
Right.
okay, cool. So has that been an intentional decision, or has it just been like, no, I just started out organic first and then maybe someday we'll get there?
Fascinating question. I think like in the beginning when I was just like figuring everything out and I was just
Yeah.
gonna like launch my course for the first time, I think it was kind of like I don't have time to do this and master it. I am somebody who like
Mm,
I love taking things on and really understanding them inside and out before I execute them. And I like to get obsessed with things. I like to like dive deep. And it was something where I mean, I was working 5 days behind the chair, like busting out hair in and out, while I was also building this course and coming up with my offer and this like sales strategy, all and marketing and all of these things. Like it was a lot. And I think that ads was just something that was way too much of a beast for me to really feel confident in diving into. And
sure.
so I was just like, you know what? I don't have any expectations for this. I was just gonna sell the course, see if anybody buys it, and then go from there. And if nobody buys it, or if I didn't have the awareness, whatever it may be, then maybe I should have gone into ads. But every launch, it's kind of been the same thing. It's almost like I don't have time to be learning this shit. So let's just see what organic can do for me until it stops working. And we must do it really well. And I'm coming up with more organic marketing strategies and diversifying the way that we do it, keeping up with trends as much as we possibly can. And recently I had a conversation with Quajo in Accelerator about my
Hmm.
next steps. And I was talking about should I be doing ads because I feel like I'm like FOMOing over the awareness I could be getting. And then he
Hmm.
was like, well, you do organic marketing so well. Why don't you, instead of investing the money into the ads, why don't you invest the money into more organic outreach, right? Whether that be like with a team member and somebody who can spend time like doing more of what's already working, which is so much
Yep.
easier than figuring out this whole new beast.
Yeah. And that's a question I ask, you all in Accelerator all the time. Like, what would this look like if it were easy? Can we be doing more of what's working?
Right.
And, could paid ads help you? I really think that they could, but I don't, like we're talking about, I don't think it's necessary right now at
Me
all.
neither.
So you've been successful with your launches.
Mhm.
Every launch you've done, you do it really, really well.
Mhm.
Your conversion rates are off the charts. And so let's start right there. Like, what is your secret? So let's describe, number one, you have the course and the membership.
Correct.
So let's kind of break that down, like the relationship between the two.
Mhm.
And how do you launch
Yep.
those two offers? And why do you think you convert so well?
So I have a course and a back-end membership, just like you shared. So I have a course, it's
Hmm.
called Pre-Visit Pathway. It's like the 12-week course, how to get everything streamlined and automated, implement a bunch of tech into your business and get her going. And so it's 12 weeks. And after the 12 weeks is over, they're invited to an alumni-only membership in which then I give them more advanced strategies. I give them ongoing support, a lot of intense community. It's a very, very live launch situation. Like I am very involved in the community and I'm super inspired by it. And then we have it as streamlined as possible to where like it doesn't burn me out, but I'm still giving so much value and I'm giving them like really direct support, which is helpful. And so I sell my course with webinars. That's what I've
Okay.
been doing since the get. So I do webinars and my webinars convert really, 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 really well, unexpectedly. I didn't realize that they converted well until I like started seeing like other like digital educators and like how they were going. I was like, oh wow, like I guess I don't do too bad with these.
What's your average conversion rate
I
on
was
Quick?
literally, I was like, I should have come prepared with the numbers. I'm so stupid. Like, how am I supposed to get on this podcast with you and not have my numbers out? Like, that's just like, that doesn't work.
If I remember correctly, your conversion rates are like between 30 and
Yeah.
40%, if I
I,
remember
I
correctly.
have, yep, it's 31%. 31%.
Yeah.
So,
31% conversion on the webinar.
wait, I lied. I so lied. It's 31% from my email list. I just read the wrong thing. It's 31% from my, like, just from my total people who are in the launch. But on the webinar, the average conversion rate is 38%.
Yeah. So the everybody in your launch, so your lead to sale conversion rate is like 30%.
Hmm. So it's good stuff.
It's unheard of. Yeah.
I'm like really proud of it.
Why do you think that's the case? Like,
I
because people are listening right now, like, oh my God, tell me, like, what are you doing in order to achieve those numbers?
Do you know what I think? Like we're talking, I think like the organic marketing is like a really big part of it, you know?
Yeah.
Like these are people who like want to be part of this because they really wanted to be a part of it. Like these are people who have just naturally, organically, like through their own will and journey found me, and have been following me. And I've been able to nurture because with organic, like you just have so much more like high touch, especially like through social media. And if they're following you on Instagram, and I don't know, I really do think that it all being organic has been a really big part of it. But then the
Yeah.
other part of it too is I think I do a really brilliant job of number one, I hit a really big pain point that a lot of other educators sometimes hit, but they don't hit it the way that I do. Like, I really believe that I am the only person teaching what I'm teaching, how I'm teaching it.
Yeah.
And it's a massive pain point. And I think I do a really good job at bridging the pain point and my solutions and making it make sense to the person.
Is there like a specific format that you follow in your webinar?
So I did DCA with Amy Porterfield back in the
Hmm.
back when I first was figuring this all out, and I
Yep.
very much followed that blueprint. However, I've like changed it to like be my own thing, like especially like after this like last launch that I did, I definitely changed up the webinar a lot. And what I enjoy about the framework is that I really am teaching like real concepts, like it's a free webinar, but like I'm actually like giving people like real information. But I think like the overarching theme I've taken like the overarching themes and I understand why it works. Like I
Yeah.
said, like if I'm going to be doing something, I want to understand why it works so that way I can do it really well. And I think
Totally.
why it works is because I really focus on, like I said, bridging the pain point to the solution, creating like new beliefs, like showing people that there's like a new way, a different way of doing things, and just really connecting with people and making them understand like this, like things could be different for you,
Yeah.
and it
Yeah.
doesn't have to be like in a weird way or a way that doesn't feel right to you. Like I can show you the path, and I feel like I just do a really good job of doing that in the webinar for sure.
Do you have a hard time getting people to show up
I
to your
actually
webinars?
have, I think, an average of a 60% show up rate.
So
So
no, the answer is no.
no.
What do you think is the what do you think is the reason for that? Are you doing your webinars on like, because don't most stylists take like Sundays and Mondays off or something like
So
that?
yes, so this is I think that I have a massive advantage with the fact that I'm speaking to a very specific industry that has like calendars. I've noticed
Sure.
that like within Accelerator, like we like talk about webinar times and dates and stuff like that. And I've noticed that people who are speaking to a much broader audience like have a harder time coming up with what those days and times look like. I'm
Yeah.
so grateful that I have such a predictable industry. So yes, so the majority of the industry has off on Sundays and Mondays. And so we do one Sunday at 12, and then we do a Monday at 12, and then we do another Monday where I do one at like 10 and 8. So I really hit like those dates, and I think that that works out really well for me.
So you do webinars a week apart. So you do a
Correct.
Sunday, Monday, and then the following week.
Yep.
And then, so is the cart open the whole time in between those,
It is.
that in that first week?
Yeah, I have like a pretty like long open cart. My open cart's
Right.
normally like between like a 10 to 12 day situation.
I mean, it works.
Exactly.
You
So
can't argue.
exactly. So I'm not going to change it.
Yeah. And so at what point do people then go into the membership?
So once the 12 weeks is up, I then have like a graduation ceremony, and it's all
Hmm.
fun. It gives like superlatives. We talk about like all the things. It's really cute. And then I basically they're all there live. And so I do like my little pitch. It's nothing crazy, but I do a little pitch. And then they join the membership and they move on forward with me from there.
Nice.
Yeah.
And then that's ongoing, right? It's not
Correct.
like okay.
Correct.
Once a
It's
month.
a recurring situation.
Gotcha. So, okay, let's talk about the organic marketing.
Hmm.
What type, because people I know listening right now, they're like, okay, I would love those numbers on whatever it is that I'm doing in my business. And so what types of things are you doing from an organic perspective? And then like, what do you find is working really well for you within the organic strategies?
Yes. So number one, what I'll say, I feel like I need to talk about this because it really launched me off the ground, was
Hmm.
when Clubhouse was like on and popping, like I took full advantage of the opportunity. And it just goes to show you, like, if there's something new out there, like if people are attracted to like this new space and you have the chance to like jump on that train before it derails, get on the train and like take full advantage of it. And I feel like such a hypocrite because I'm not on TikTok yet.
I was just going to say, but yet we were
I
talking
know. I know.
before and I'm not giving you a hard time. Like and like we were talking and joking, but not joking. I really am obsessed with TikTok.
Yes.
And I'm getting there myself as far as being on the platform, as far as creating content. But I think I think it'd be this amazing platform for you.
I agree. And it's on the list. Trust and believe. Like we need to get on there. And but to share with other people, like if they're like
Sure.
like to share with other people, especially if you're at the beginning of your journey, for sure, jump on that train, because Clubhouse, like I blew up so fast within my niche, within my industry on Clubhouse. Like it was actually crazy. I created such great connections. I networked so hard. I have like friends that I never thought I'd be friends with just because of Clubhouse. And that really was really helpful. Now, it didn't absolutely explode me. Like it definitely, I've definitely done a lot of different things that have gotten me to where I am now, but it was a good like launch pad for me. Clubhouse is like dead, RIP now. I got off that as soon as it died. So Clubhouse was like the first thing, and I was showing up there so like every day, sometimes twice a day. It was wild. And then Instagram. And Instagram was actually how I grew my clientele behind the chair, like in my salon business. And so I had already been pretty familiar with like how to market well on Instagram. And I mean, I'm Gen Z, so I've been using Instagram since I was like, what, like 12, right? So I'm super familiar with the platform and I'm super comfortable with it. And so I just pivoted, like I completely stopped talking to clients and trying to get hair clients. And I completely just started talking to hairstylists on there, and just keeping things very like niche specific, as like to what I teach. And, what did really well at the time was if you like post like statics posts or like carousels of just like controversial shit, like industry specific controversial stuff, right? So like for you, for example, like like when you say like live launching is dead, like something like that, like that hits really well.
Sure.
So for us, like I've always leaned into those types of things that do well, and that works out really well for us at the time. Now we are reeling it up. We're doing reels all the damn time. And it's really fantastic because with the help of Accelerator, I've been able to grow a mighty, like small team that has just been so excellent and has helped me show up so much more consistently and made it such a streamlined, more effective process. And so I'm really, really consistent with Instagram and Instagram Reels still, and they work really, really, really well. And the thing about
before we go on to before we go on to the next thing there, when you're doing reels, I think there's a big thing, where people have a question around what's the balance between creating content that is like, challenging, like you said, like something controversial,
right,
in your niche or whatever it might be, versus like, all right, how do I build my email list? How do I get people over here to join whatever it is?
Right.
How do you find that balance?
I do both at the same time.
Okay.
Right. Like I just do both at the same time. And sometimes I'm calling to action the podcast, but a lot of the times, like I'll be able to like talk about the controversial topic, and then it's always related to my niche. So as long as it's related, I'm able to bridge it back to the call to action. So I'll like hook them with whatever it may be, talk about a pain point, talk about a common misbelief, misconception, like something that's like, what, I've never heard of any other stylist doing this before. And then I have something that, such as like my lead magnet or my podcast episode, where I could call to the action and then go from there. So I do both at the same time.
Have you noticed that reels have been most helpful for you when sort of that shift happened, when reels became more popular, but also it's been like organic and like the reach and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I believe I remember you saying that you haven't really felt affected from it. Is that
as far as like lower reach with reels?
Yeah. Yeah.
So here's the thing. So I have never wanted to go viral with my reels because I'm so industry specific, right? And I think it's an important conversation to have for like us as digital educators, like with like our niches and our industries that we're speaking to. because like for some people, like going viral on Instagram and getting like 1 million views may be super lucrative for you. For me, it's actually like a bad thing. And you know this. I am on this podcast, okay, hesitatingly, but I love Rick, so that's why I'm here. And I'm obviously honored to be on this podcast. I've listened to it and I love it. But I am very picky choosy about the audience and the traffic that comes through my channels, because I don't want to be bogged down by anything that isn't a customer, a paying customer. It's just a waste of space. Like I literally, like if I get a follower on it, I'm this crazy about this. If I get a follower on Instagram who is not a hairstylist or like a beauty professional or somebody who'd be paying money, I literally unfollow them from my page, because it bogs down the algorithm. Like the more people I have that aren't
Yeah.
buyers, is the less buyers that will see my content. So with Reels, if you go onto my Instagram, like you'll notice I have not like exceeded like 33K views, like which is pretty small for somebody who like does Reels all the time. But I
Yeah.
am really happy about it because I don't want a bunch of random people following me. You know, what I do know is that I am reaching people
Yeah.
within my industry.
For everybody listening right now, what Hunter is saying here is a huge, huge lesson. And I don't think it can be, focused on enough. You see so many people, so many of us get judged based on like on our content, like, oh, that's not a lot of views, or that didn't get many likes, or whatever it might be. When what Hunter's talking about right here, this is what it's about. It's about quantity. It's the whole cliche, quantity, not quality.
Yep.
Right. I would much rather have 1,000 people on my email list who are, it's the whole 1,000 raving fans thing.
Yep.
Versus 100,000 of just, random people who are not necessarily my target audience, who are just, again, to your point, Hunter, taking up space.
Exactly.
So I love that you do that.
Yeah.
Right? And that's obviously helped you. You're very specific on who you're speaking to, and you are showing up for them, providing value and content and, help to them. And it shows in your business. I mean, you have grown your business really quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And just look at like, obviously it's more than numbers, right?
Yeah.
The conversations that you're having and that are happening with your target audience, that's what this is all about.
100%. And just being so intentional. There's such a lack of intention with social media. Like you really need to think about like, why am I posting this? Like who is going to see this, and really understanding, obviously. And I feel like this is kind of 101, but like so many people overlook it, like really understanding who you're speaking to and where they're living and how you're showing up for that person in that moment, like is so important to think about in every single step of the way, and like how it affects you and your business at the end of the day. And so although I don't go viral, like I know that I'm reaching my people that I need to be reaching. And the great thing about being so industry specific is like within my industry, there's like these large repost accounts, like there's these like massive like industry publications who like reposts hairstylist content all the time. And so we get reposted like a lot, and those get like 100,000 views, but I know still like those are for the right people at the same time.
Yeah,
and
totally.
So it's worked really well for us. And it's also just a really excellent nurturing strategy too. I mean, like once somebody follows us and they're going to be seeing our reels, and it really does help. So we get a lot of our traffic, especially to the podcast, and most of my lead magnet downloads are from my Instagram for sure. And then we're doing two other things, but I'll pause because I talk a lot.
No, I mean, you're dropping the gold here. Like there's this right here. I wish so many people were more comfortable with what you're talking about here in their own business, because most people think, oh, the more niche that I get, I'm bringing the pool down too much and I can't have a successful business, whatever success means to them.
Right.
And that is simply not true. And you're proof of that in how you're approaching your business. You're like, I want to speak directly to my audience, the people who are going to buy from me.
Yep.
And we're in business because we want to help a specific set of
Yep.
people. And I don't mean that from, excluding. I just mean like, all right, this is the niche that I serve. This is who I want to be talking to.
Yeah. Well, and the point is that I know I can't serve somebody outside of that niche
Right.
as well as I can that person, right? So
Sure.
I'm going to focus on that person because that's what that person deserves. And it's actually doing a disservice to anybody else for me to be pretending like I can serve them better. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
and that's like how I approach everything. Like, for example, like in my courses and in my philosophies and what I teach, I always say, like, as a hairstylist, you shouldn't be taking on every single client in your chair. Like, you should only be taking on the people that you know you can do a good job with, because that's playing the long-term game. Like, that's playing the game where like you're going to be creating a relationship with somebody who you serve really well, who will stay with you for a long time. They'll stick with you through the price increases. They'll refer all their friends to you, versus somebody who you're miserable with and you're not going to show up 100% for. Like, it just, nobody wins at the end of the day because
Yeah.
they aren't happy. You're not happy. So like, let them go. Like, let them go to somewhere else. Focus on the person that you can serve the best, and then you will thrive. So I'd rather have 5,000 like totally perfect followers on Instagram than 100,000 like randos
Yeah.
on Instagram. What matters is the coins and the bank account at the end of the day.
And because of this approach, I would imagine that the number of referrals that you get within the industry
my
is huge.
God, yes. You said this at our in-person retreat a couple months ago. You said that there's fulfillment, sales, and marketing, right? And you asked us like, which one should we be focusing on first?
Yep.
And you said fulfillment, we should be focusing on first, because if your fulfillment is down, then the marketing becomes easy. And I think that has been really, really true for us since the beginning. There's like, coincidentally, because I have always really focused on our customer experience. And the amount of referrals we get is insane. Like, that is a huge part of our organic strategy, and it's completely free. And those leads are so piping hot. Like,
Sure.
if their friend, if their trusted peer tells them about my course and said that they had a great, excellent experience, that person will buy my course. So absolutely.
Do you incentivize referrals in any way?
We do have an affiliate program, but truly, like, we don't need it. We wouldn't need it. And I wish I didn't start it. I wish I didn't start it, because now I feel like there's this like expectation, because I already started it, that I have to keep doing it. But I'm lowering it as much as possible to where it's like nothing. I don't feel like it's taking away from my profit very much. And also, I'm not putting a crazy amount of effort into it, because we get the referrals without the incentive. So why am I incentivized? It just doesn't make it's.
Yeah.
So anyways, we have an affiliate program, but I hate it.
So you're doing organic, you're doing Instagram, crushing it on Reels. You've got the word of mouth. Anything else that you're doing organically?
Yes. So I have my podcast, which is great. I'm not, since it's so hard to track, I don't know what new traffic is coming through. However, I know that it's obviously a fantastic nurturing strategy. And like, if I can get somebody on the podcast, they are going to like be way more likely to buy. And it's been really, really, really helpful for us. So I've been really excited about the podcast. We just did a summit. We just did a virtual summit. So a summit where we had a bunch of other speakers within our industry, educators within my industry, come in, and it was a completely free summit. We had 20 speakers, and we had really massive industry experts who are way bigger than me come in. And then we had some like small fish. It was a really great blend. We had a lot of good diversity and a lot of different topics. It was really, really great. And I still niched like the entire summit down to be relatable to what I teach, because at the end of the day, I wanted it to be like a traffic flow for me and for the people who are coming in. Again, I didn't want I niche down this specifically. Like, this is how intentional I am. I don't want any hairstylists coming into this gig. Like, I want a hairstylist who is booked and busy, independent, and overwhelmed. Like that is who I'm speaking to.
Mm,
And so I
hmm.
know if I created this summit that was like, learn how to build your clientele, which is sexy and will 100% get way more people in there, it won't be buyers for me at the end of the day. So instead of
Yeah.
doing that, I focused way more on my people and then took all the speakers and made sure that the speakers were kind of like fitting into that box at the end of the day.
Super smart.
Yeah.
How many days? 20. You had 20
I have 20
speakers. How many days
speakers.
was it?
Yes. It was
That is a
it
lot.
was a 3-day event. We honestly probably could have gotten it down to 2 if we didn't we gave like an hour gap for everything just to make sure that we had plenty
Yeah.
of time just in case anything got messed up. And it was all pre-recorded. So, it was super predictable and easy, but it was completely free for somebody to attend. We did have an upgrade option in which we contributed 100% of the proceeds towards a BIPOC beauty school scholarship fund. So the mission was super impactful. I'm so proud of it. We were able to raise like $26,000 just from that.
That's awesome.
It was just badass. And I got bringing up the numbers. I'm in my Google Sheets right now. Hold on. I got 1,429 new organic leads from my summit. And like for free, basically. But I mean, it was a whole lot of labor and I'm paying my
Sure.
team, but
Yeah.
like that's like crazy for me. And they're ideal. And I know that they're ideal leads, which is like so awesome. So yeah, I'll
So
talk.
was that you promoted it obviously through Instagram,
Yep.
your email list,
Yep.
podcast,
Yep.
and then I would imagine there was a lot of word of mouth again
Yep.
from people in your community, in your audience that were telling their friends, "Hey, you got to come check this out."
And all of the speakers that we had, they were all required.
Ah,
They signed our agreement. They were required to send a minimum of 2 emails to their email list, and then we
okay.
gave them a bunch of swipe copy. We gave them a bunch of social media swipe stuff, and they promoted it on their Instagrams and all of the things. And so, I mean, these are all. I'm getting so much new traffic because these are other speakers within my industry, and they're promoting to their lists. So that was a really great way of getting all those new people in there.
Did you have to was it easy to get the quote unquote upper level people?
Okay, so I also wanted to talk about this. So this is a great transition.
Cool.
So my other organic strategy thus far has been networking. Like the relationships that I've been able to create have been so excellent and so important in my journey of getting to where I am without any paid ads. Like
Yep.
creating the relationships that I've had with these other industry experts, it truly like has skyrocketed everything for me. And it is so important to spend time like nurturing those relationships and making authentic, genuine relationships with these people and like really aligning with other people who have the same core values as you too. Like I had other really big industry speakers who I probably could have asked and probably would have agreed to join us, but I
Hmm.
didn't because I didn't feel like they were aligned with like the mission and the core values and stuff. And I just genuinely think like what I've poured into those relationships it's paid off so much for us and the business, very much so. And so making
It's
relationships with
awesome.
other people has been a massive thing for us as well too.
People have a real, sort of block around this concept of building their network because they often think like, well, I want to meet that person over there. I want to get to know that person over there because I know they can help me, when that's not the approach that we need to be taking. So how do you approach building those relationships, through authenticity?
That's a really great question. And I think it's just being like, I mean, I've met all these different people in so many different ways. So I guess it kind of depends on how you meet them. But
Sure.
I mean, like think about what I can relate to them with, like with education and stuff. And I just ask them like, how's your business going? Like, what do you do? Like, what's your niche? How do you help hairstylists? And then we just relate over like, like different industry topics and concepts. And then all of that. And I just actually have a really genuine interest in here's the thing. I have a real genuine interest in making an impact. Like,
Yeah.
it's real. Like I really care about it. And so I'm really curious about how these other people are doing the same thing with me. And so I ask questions about it and I want to know what they teach and I want to know how they teach it. And I ask them like, would you be down to come on my podcast? And then they eventually ask me if I want to come on theirs, you know? That's another thing
Yeah.
we do. We like pitch to get on other people's podcasts, but just be real and just care about what you guys are doing and like come from it from like a real angle and like ask real questions and then go from there. Like don't go right into the and create a relationship before you start pitching shit.
Yeah. And I mean, it's pretty basic, right? But I think we tend to want to overcomplicate it. Like most things, right? But it's like, have a real genuine reason why you want to connect with this person.
Yeah.
I want to connect with them because I want to have a big impact in what I'm doing and in the niche I'm serving. And that person's having an impact too. So, hey, let's connect with that person.
Yes.
Yeah.
And like I have this weird like underlying primal fear of promoting other people. Like because it's just I feel like it's just natural competition. Like it is just like our
Mm,
brains like being nervous
sure.
about that.
Yep.
But like there's plenty to go around. And again, like it goes back to like I really care, right? So if I really
Yeah.
care about if I think that this person can really, if I think Michelle Cook, CPA, who teaches hairstylists all about taxes and all that really fun stuff. If I think that Michelle's course can help other people, then I'm not going to be worried about like, oh, well, if somebody spends money on her course, then they may not have the money to spend on my course. I'm going to think about, okay, I want this person, I want the industry to change. I want to help the industry. Like, I'm going to give people Michelle's contact and like everybody
Yeah.
wins at the end of the day, you know, like,
Yeah.
and there's plenty to go around for real.
Yeah. And thank you publicly here on the podcast for referring Michelle to Accelerator.
Oh yeah, Michelle.
What?
Okay, no, you want to know? Michelle referred me back in
Oh,
the
she was okay. Yes.
Michelle
Yes.
referred me, but she wasn't a part of it yet. And then I was
Yes.
like, well, I need this now. So I got to go. But she was
Right.
coming up on tax season and she like couldn't handle it. And now she's,
Yeah.
so yeah, it worked out well.
There she is. So what do you think as we start to wrap up here? What do you think just for Accelerator, what do you think has been the biggest help for you and you're still in like, it's not like you're finishing tomorrow. I don't mean that. Like, what do you think's been the biggest help for you?
So when I still work behind a chair. I've definitely significantly reduced my hours. But when I first joined Accelerator, I was working like 4 days a week, like if not 5 sometimes. Like I was working long hours behind the chair and I was working tirelessly on my online business because I was really
Yeah.
passionate about it and I was really I was excited about it. And so I was just working non-stop. It was really
Sure.
bad. And I was doing really freaking well. I don't
Yep.
know if I necessarily regret all of the hard work that I put in. However, if I kept going down that route, it would have not been good. I would not been able to sustain my own life, be happy in my own life. I wouldn't be able to show up and serve people the way that they deserve from me.
Yeah.
And so I joined Accelerator because I needed to learn how to be a leader and grow a team that I actually got a return of investment on. Like I
Yeah.
had like a VA up until that point, but I felt like I was always like micromanaging. I felt like I was always having to be the one ending up fixing it or doing it. Like I didn't feel like I had a return on my investment. And what
Yeah.
Accelerator has done for me is it's helped me understand how to get a return on my investment in the labor that I'm investing in. Like and also create a team that I absolutely love and like a team that is like sometimes even more passionate than me sometimes. Like it's been transformative for me and you have really helped me step into that different mindset and like have these different behaviors about how I approach things with the way that things are getting done in my business. Like
Yeah.
I get like that old, sometimes it like creeps in that old, like, oh, well, I'll just go ahead and I'll do it. Like,
Yeah.
I know I'll do it right. So I'm going to do it now. Or the old, like, maybe if I worked a little bit harder, then it'll be better out, or I'm missing out on something if I'm not working harder. And I've just been able to step into a mindset where it's like, I know that's not true anymore. I know that's not the right way to go about it. That's not playing the long-term game. And I'm
Yeah.
able to just delegate and trust and things are done better and I'm able to grow faster and do more things because I have more arms and legs that I absolutely trust and love.
Which you have to have if you want to have the impact that you want to have.
Precisely.
Yeah. Without working 18 hours a day.
We could not have done that summit without, oh my God, I could not have done that myself. I couldn't even imagine. It would have been
Yeah.
hell. And so I
Yeah.
would not have been able to raise that money for somebody to go to beauty school if it was not for my team helping. Like they did the entire thing for me. And I would not have known how to trust them to do that if it wasn't for Accelerator. And I wouldn't have been able to execute it if it wasn't for my amazing team.
That's awesome. I love hearing that. So for those of you listening, only if you are a busy stylist behind the chair, you are overworked and overwhelmed, this is where you can connect with Hunter. Go.
At Hair by Hunty, Hunty on Instagram.
Everybody else listening who does not fall into that,
leave me alone.
Leave him alone. Hunter, thank you so much, man, for coming on here. I just, I think the world of you. I tell you that all the time. And I think what you're doing and how you're doing it is the right way, and through your authentic self. And that just shows up in everything that you do. So thank you for doing that, through what you're doing in your business, and also, the kind of help that you're offering right here, whether, everybody listening can win from this episode and learn from what you're doing. Right. And so thank you for taking the time to come on here.
Thank you so much for wanting to have me on here. Thank you for all that you've done for me and taught me. I really, really appreciate it. And I wouldn't be where I am today without you. So I was absolutely happy to come on here and share. It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Hey, if you'd like my eyes and attention and focus on your business and help you find leverage in your business and help you scale your business and your impact while working way fewer hours, because what we're all about here within my Accelerator coaching program is helping you build the business, whatever success looks like to you, in a 25-hour work week or less. If you want to work more than that, amazing, but let's do it in a long-term sustainable way so that there's no burnout and you're having a blast in your business and you're just having the impact that you want to have. And so if you'd like to learn more about how I can help you inside of our Accelerator coaching program, just go over to rickmulready.com/accelerator. You can learn more about the program, hear from current and past members, and there's just a short application that you fill out. And so I can see if we might be a fit to work together. Again, it's rickmulready.com/accelerator. Thank you, my friends, as always, for tuning in today. Super appreciate you. Until next time, be super well, and I'll talk to you soon.